Welcome into the Wanks FPL podcast. I'm joined, as always, by Sharp and Mac, FPL Vibes FC and FPL Mac. What's up, boys? Let's talk double game week 26. How are we feeling?
Don't really have a lot to remember on it, but I've had a great week partying for Mardi Gras, so vibes are high there, and hopefully that carries into 27 here.
That's how bad your FPL team is that you're trying to change the subject to real life
immediately within 1 minute of the pod. We're already off FPL.
Facts. Fair enough. Mac, how are we doing?
I'm good. I'm first. I tweeted this, but it's the first time my score started with a 3 that isn't in the millions. So pretty stoked there. Sharp, you are having way too good of a season. If you're like mad, spoiler alert, we're all on green arrows. But
I'm mad when I'm in a hat, so my green is less important.
I do love seeing that. Like, that does make me happy when I don't have to don a banana at the beginning of any given podcast.
It's been pretty incredibly consistent over the past 10 weeks, it feels like. So hopefully the last 10, we're not getting any.
Sure has. That gap is getting a little bit smaller for one of us. It's tight at the top. This is a nice little City Arsenal title race that we've got going here, where it's there's still a gap, but is there enough season for him to catch him? But it's just bottling it, choking at the last minute.
Let's chill. Calm down.
Arteta FC.
No, we're gonna be so fine. We're gonna run away with it here at the end. We're gonna flip a switch, and it's gonna be. I'm gonna do something crazy. Just wait.
Yeah. In all reality, this week was pretty uneventful. I think, what was it? 3 points separated me from you, Sharp. Is that about right? So yeah, it was funny because we all three had pretty different teams, but we ended on some pretty similar scores. Like Max said, we're all on green arrows, which is great, but feels less great when you used a triple cap on a defender that didn't keep any cleans. So that's pretty brutal. But as reference, here's where the ranks stack up. As you can see, unfortunately for me, this means I am at my best rank since game week 6, which is the last time I used a triple captainship. So vibes are pretty low for Team Blue over there. But yeah, it's getting close at the top.
I think that just means you have to use all your chips right away so you can get as close as possible to the top.
No, genuinely, this is going to come into play when I start talking about my team. And ultimately, I may end up just doing the pussy template route to some extent. But I'm starting to be I really need to find ways to differentiate because I'm bored up here. It's raining.
I empathize with that completely. I mean, I had to wild card in 24 for the same reason. One thing I'm cautious about is my rank artificially inflated as a result of the chips that I've used. Now having my wild card out of the way as well as my triple captain, are you guys going to get gains on me when you can position differently? So there might still be time, but
yeah, I think that actually may be a good transition into kind of a level set for where we're at with regards to the doubles and blanks and chip usage and stuff. Sharp decided in typical Vibes fashion to give up social media for Lent, so he actually needs this help and conversation. And yeah, I've done a little bit of research. I don't pretend to be anybody who knows their shit like the Planet FPL guys or anyone even slightly close to that. But I have caught up on kind of what's going on. So the big thing that's going to happen next is in that FA Cup round 5, so the 6th column over there, Man City and Newcastle play. And that one's meaningful because if City move forward, they will likely have a double later in the season and another opportunity for somebody to triple cap, potentially Holland or another City asset. If Newcastle win, though, there is a decent possibility that City's potential blank in 31 might not actually happen, and they might be able to reschedule that fixture in 31. So that's relevant specifically for if you're looking to get a Palace or a City asset in. There is still a chance of that, but we're really not going to know until game week. What is that? Yeah, before game week 30. So we're not going to have much notice, but there is a possibility that stuff happens. So yeah, as far as the whole when to use your chips, I guess I can also show this really briefly. This is some projections for game week 34 doubles, for blanks in 34 and then doubles in 33. So it seems like there's going to be quite a few teams that are going to blank in 34, up to 8 teams, up to 4 fixtures total. But that's still pretty uncertain. And again, we really won't know that for some time. And most of those teams that are blanking in 34 are also going to be doubling in 33 or 36 or something along those lines. So that presents opportunities for other people to use triple cap. But I think like for you, Mac, or anyone who's like even considering a wild card now, I don't think wild carding now is the end of the world. The only problem with that is that you don't know who doubles in 33. So that there's no way for you to like strategically plan for who to set your team up for to maximize that double in 33, potentially bench boost, or just, get in like a really good lineup of players. So I think you could get away with that. But the one that I was kind of toying around with in our like group chat off air was maybe burning the free hit in 31 instead of 34. But just considering how many big teams are set to blank in 30, projected to blank in 34, this is all based on like if the favorite team wins each given matchup throughout the cup. So that's kind of where these projections come from. It seems like it's a lot of really big teams, right? It's like your Arsenals, your Cities, your Newcastles, your Liverpools, your Chelseas of the world that could blank in 34. So it's unlike in 31 when you potentially of big teams just have Arsenal and City. It's a combo of a lot more of those. So it's frustrating because I know like the template strategy, right, is the wildcard 32 to bench boost 33 to free hit 34. And I'm always, as I mentioned on last pod, like looking for ways to differentiate from that. But it does kind of feel like, unfortunately, just the way things have lined up, that strategy is just kind of, there's not really a better alternative. Again, I'm sure you can go about it a different way. There's not one way to play this game in any way, but it's just going to be really difficult. The free hit especially is one where like if you don't have that, I think it's going to be really, really difficult to navigate those fixtures. But that being said, if you're chasing like I am, it always presents an opportunity to do an alt strategy. Anyway, so that's like high level what's going on, and that's about as much detail as I can give. I'm the last guy to ask about like specific details, but considering I'm preaching to the blind here, I thought I'd share some info.
Yeah, that's nice. If I did have Twitter, I probably would have known all that too, off the top of my head.
Of course,
and everything.
of course.
So,
yeah.
No, I do think overall, when you look at it, the free hit is kind of the most crucial piece there because you have to play for those blanks. And even the Arsenal City possible blank, I think probably puts a lot of teams at 4 to 5 assets that you have to look at and objectively have to move on from one of them just to field a team. So I think add more teams on top of those two, that would be really tough to not have a free hit going through that time. I think the biggest differentiator would just be when you use your wild card and getting to use it early to set your team up for a good run, hold transfers, transfer in enough of the double game week guys that would come in, and hopefully you cover off on it. That would be the only way that I look at it. But like you said, it's hard because you might not set yourself up well since you don't know exactly who's going to double win.
Right. Yeah, that stuff is tricky. I will say in terms of the 31 stuff, recently what I've been thinking about is how the reason this is coming across my brain and why I'm having any sort of thoughts of free hitting in 31, that type of stuff, as well as like, what does my team look like in 31 is mainly because I brought in Gahey a couple weeks ago, and now I'm potentially looking to bring in Semenyo, which I would love some conversation around once we get to transfer plans. But something like that makes me think, okay, how fucked am I for 31? But looking at some of the fixtures in that week, I kind of wonder if it's okay to maybe not have a full lineup, to either to put somebody out. Like I have an Alderete versus Newcastle, for example, that like, that's probably a shitty play, but also maybe not the end of the world. Or even just like not having 10 guys or 9 guys or something like that. Like it's really the question of like the short-term gains versus the long-term, because last week, for example, you could have gone for a Crystal Palace player that didn't end up working out. None of those guys really did all that well aside from Strand Larson. But additionally, you have like City, who has really good fixtures going forward. Palace have really good fixtures going forward. And if you're kind of chaining yourself to being like, well, I'm just like not going to bring in blank players, then you're not going to get any of those gains. Whereas you could get some of those gains if you go that way, but you're sacrificing 31. So it's a question of just like how much upside is there in the next few weeks? And does that outweigh what it looks like in 31? You guys chat and I'll see if I can try to bring up the fixtures in 31 so we can look at like how good those, or I guess we can use this.
My opinion is that it does. I think that I have been contemplating that as well. I wildcarded in 24. I've been saving transfers. The plan is in 28, so next week, to have 4 free transfers, eject my potentially all 3 Chelsea assets, and then reposition, and then save to like 31. But the problem is I have Holland, 3 Arsenal players, so I'm already 1 over for 31 on the blank standpoint, and I do want Semenyo potentially. So that would give me up to 5. And I've been like contemplating, like, should I not do those moves in the scheme of 31? And increasingly where I'm starting to lean is that no, I should probably do those moves if I think that they're good moves, because, you know, around 31, Semenyo, for instance, plays Newcastle, Leeds, Forest, West Ham. And I'm like, is him blanking in one game, which could happen anyways, like worth losing 3-4 weeks of progress? Probably not. And that's the same logic that got me to wildcard in 24. So my thoughts are increasingly pro that. I haven't made any specific decisions on what that means for me yet, but that's kind of where my head's at.
Yeah. And I'm just bringing this up to kind of show, like, 31 to me kind of looks like a week where there's not a ton of upside. Yes, you have Aston Villa versus West Ham, but we've seen that team be like super flat in a lot of games where they should be really good from an attacking perspective. You have a Morgan Rogers.
And we've seen West Ham get better, I feel like.
Right.
At
they
least
just
from putting goals
stymied
in.
United this past weekend. Yeah. Or past week, whatever. You have Newcastle versus Sunderland. Yeah. You have Newcastle versus Sunderland. They are getting pretty battered by having European games. So I think that has taken the wind out of their sails a little bit. So I don't know if I would trust necessarily like a defensive asset. Maybe you get somebody offensive, but it's really hard to pick that from Newcastle. Fulham against Burnley. Like, Burnley are really bad, so that's fair, but it doesn't, like, there's not that much upside at Fulham. Fulham are still pretty bad. United at Bournemouth, Liverpool at Brighton, Chelsea at Everton. Like, all of those are teams that we're already probably invested in. So you can get more of those players in, but I don't think that really impacts you. I'm pointing this out just to say, like, these numbers, by the way, are expected goals for attack, but it just makes me think, like, yeah, maybe this is kind of a fine week. You know, you see the teams that are projected to blank at the bottom 4 to just go against it and be like, screw it. I don't give a fuck about 31. I'm not going to use a free hit. I'm not going to overthink it or what have you. And I'm just going to get in high upside players now. That's obviously one side of it. The flip side of it is, you know, hey, somebody else is getting 6 more points than you because they have 3 more players playing. And that's with if all of those players blank. So there's obviously 2 perspectives, but yeah,
I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I think what I always say is just do what's best for your team right now. Ride the vibes. Don't look too far ahead because it's all going to blow up anyway.
Yeah.
And 100%. So to me, if I'm feeling good about my team all of the weeks leading up to this and surrounding it, and I have 1, maybe 2 guys that I'm like, I really can't get out of, or I really want for some reason in the near future, that I'm riding with it, I would say, like, having 4 guys that are blanking is very okay.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is, like, it's not like 31's next week, you know, because this deadline hasn't passed. We're still before 27. If you have 0 transfers right now, you're going to have 4 at the end of this, you know, like, so you can make a move to get around 31 in a couple of weeks. Like, the decision doesn't have to be made right now. But yeah, I think the big point is, though, like, that you do need to be making moves with that in mind at this point in time.
Spoken like somebody with 3 transfers in the bank.
Yeah. It's a plan.
I was going to say, I do think you do have to make those decisions now if you're going for like a Semenyo, not this week, but going into 28 at the very latest, because his upside is all the 3 weeks leading up to 31.
Yeah, I think this is kind of the last window to go for like a City or a Palace player.
No, I agree with that. I meant more like we're still far enough to where you don't need to avoid them. That is rapidly closing, though. Like, there's not going to be a point, I don't think, of bringing them in like in 30.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Well, talking about confidence in your teams and where you're at, we can just jump right into Sharps. Talk us through your game week 26. That feels like it happened a year ago, but
I was going to say, hold on, let me reacclimate myself.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing that jumps out is Anderson is just my consistent king. So,
all right, I'm going to stop. I knew I'm going to stop you right there. I genuinely do not understand your love for Anderson. Number one reason, because he's so anti-vibes picks. 2, there are cheaper players that DEFCON every week. Like, if you wanted a defender to just play in midfield, like, there's options for that are way cheaper than Anderson. And then 3, like, what? There's so many picks in midfield. Like, why is he your guy when there's so many other players that you could have in there that are actually scoring points? Like, why is he your dog? It just doesn't.
Because I look to the right. I have those 2 guys that you're going to call a dog, a third guy on the bench that you'd probably call a dog, and he just doubled plus their score. And he does that every single week. I can go put him in, and I'm like, he's not going to blank. He's getting 4 or 5 bare minimum.
We were talking about you going to Bumo. We were talking about you going to Wirtz. We were talking about you going to Semenyo. But Anderson with the DEFCONs is the best pickup. That's your dog?
I went to Ekitike.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have him. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out. But I do think I trust Ekitike. I do trust Ekitike more than Wirtz, I think, going forward in Liverpool. And I did want a Liverpool asset. So that's why he's there. Anderson gives me the money for it. And then right now, going forward, I made a move already that will free up some more money. So the midfield could change eventually pretty soon, pretty easily. But Anderson
I forgot you made the early move.
Yeah, absolutely.
You made it like a week ago, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay,
FC.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
On this, I'm inserting myself in this debate. Luke, who has more points since 20? Do you think in Sharp's midfield, Rodgers or Anderson?
Oh, Anderson for sure, but Rodgers is not the guy that I would say is
not the guy.
Is the dog. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
no, I understand. Yes, I just want to say that I am in agreement with Sharp that I think he's a good pick. I didn't go Ekitike, therefore I didn't need to spend
if you're looking for
a
DEFCON mid, why not go for like if you were buying right now and you said, hey, I need a sub 6. I don't know how much Anderson is. That's probably right. What, like 5.5 or something? Like
when I got him, I think he was 5'1", 5'2".
Okay. Oh, actually, that's cheaper than I thought. So okay, maybe that's fair then. I was gonna say like I just think like somebody like a Dewsbury Hall or a Garner on Everton, like both of them have that like explosive potential where they've shown this season they can score like 15, 20 pointers. And Anderson, like, yes, he's consistent and that's great. He's not a bad pick per se. I just am kind of like either I would go cheaper and go for somebody with like potentially more upside, or I would go for like the more expensive guy who has high upside as well. Neither here nor there, like in the sense of totally fine that you went there. It's just so surprising to me that Vibes FC, who's like known for picking up a player when he's hot and scores big points and then dumping him, is like, no, I elected to go for the consistent DEFCONing mid who has 0 attacking threat.
Well, everything's about balance. It's, you have to be able to have someone you can count on to be too much of a good thing. Highs and lows. Yeah. So having a guy in there that can do it, that's why I like it so much. And as much as you talk about me hitting, I have not hit in a long time, which is why my rank has just stayed where it's at. So until I get better at doing that again, I think I need a little stability, and that's what he provides me.
Heard.
He's that safety option after a tough breakup. The rest of the team, I think everyone had Arsenal in some way, shape, or form. Timber sucked. Gabriel was certainly disappointing throughout all of that. It sucks. I could have triple captained someone who had a single game this week and would have done 9 points better. And Ja Pedro. On the same note, love Ja Pedro. Very happy with how he's been for me. He has one more good week for me, and then probably getting shipped off or benched or looked at least. Everyone else on the team that started, like, I don't know, shrug my shoulders at, take it, leave it. It's fine. Nothing off.
I know he mentioned it, but how about United getting shut out? Like, I did not see that coming with regards to Bruno and Bumo.
Fair. Yeah, you got to think they were so consistent for a few weeks. Or
Bumo had 6 points.
He got the assist. That's true. But I just mean like 1-1 against West Ham. They didn't create a whole lot. Bruno completely blanks, which is surprising from him just in the sense of he always seems to have some sort of route to points. He is, less DEFCONing now that Carrick's been there, so maybe that's part of it. But anyway, just surprised. Like to your point of West Ham looking better and better. Sorry, Mac, I know that probably is not what you want to hear, but
no, I mean it's true. It's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
I agree, though. I mean, I'm not surprised that United got shut out. Maybe I'll get to this later if we talk about it. But I was worried the same reason with Arsenal. Like, I was afraid if you played a team that played a lower block, they would struggle. So, anyways, back to your team, Sharp.
Yeah, fair. No, I think looking forward, well, what I have already done is take Tarkowski down to Hill. So another way to just get money, and Everton's fixtures aren't going to be very good. So getting out of Tark now feels like the right thing. 1.5 to either do something with Wilson, do something with, I'm not going to do anything with Rodgers because of the fixtures Villa have coming up, but that's kind of where I would be looking, or Dallo, even if I wanted to go back up in a defender, but I don't think I really want to right now. And then the only other person really on the chopping block in terms of the team at the moment in time is probably it's going to be crazy, but Holland. He has not seemed worth 14.5 or 14.9, I guess is what he's at right now. And so if I can free that up and go down somewhere, and then like you were saying, Luke, like there's so many options in the midfield, and just stack a midfield together, that might be where I end up. That would obviously require a little work, and obviously they have some pretty good fixtures coming up, so I don't see it happening soon. But I think by the point of weeks we're talking with the flip after 31, then it could be a completely different team, and it would be because he's gone.
City have like some pretty nice fixtures for the next few. Obviously, ultimately they blank in 31 in theory, and if Holland was injured this week, this would have been a much more interesting conversation. And I guess technically he still could be, but we did see he was in training, so probably not. The selling Holland train, like I think that's a super fair potential argument. I also could see it flipping just as easily and him doing really well in the next few in it being we're back to your scheduled programming with Holland. But I've heard some rumblings of people talking about selling Holland and buying Salah again. And the reason for that is just that Liverpool's fixtures are getting really good. Like, for example, I'm looking at getting Wirtz in 28, and from 28 on, their fixtures look really nice. Is that something that you would consider at all?
I would say no, just because of how expensive Salah still is. And even when Liverpool is looking semi-okay, it hasn't necessarily transferred to Salah yet. So all we're still banking on is a name that hasn't proven anything this year. And as much as that kills me to say, it's if I'm playing this game, that's how I have to look at it. So I would not do it. Although I will say, if we're going to play and actually press like we did in the FA Cup and we played the first time like we did last year, if we keep doing that, I think we're going to look a lot better as a total. So
yeah, I think the only like thing that I would say to maybe think on with that is think about where we were at on Palmer 3 weeks ago. You know, like we were like, oh, he's just a name, you know, what have you, what has he done? Granted, different set of circumstances. How many times can you get a fucking João Pedro assist penalty? But
at least 3 times, apparently.
But he actually looks good now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he is genuinely in that last game. You were like, oh shit, this is like Palmer's back, like legitimately, not just in the penalty taking way. Anyway, so all that to say, like, Salah could just be that. He could be the guy laying in wait. I'm not really trying to convince you because I don't know if I would go there either, but it's more so just like food for thought. You know, it does seem like if you're thinking about selling Holland, that's a potential opportunity.
I'm worried about doing it. Sorry. Just like in the sense that a lot of people are still going to own him, even if some people sell him.
Yeah. Ultimately, like if Holland's fixtures weren't as good as they are, I think I'd be a lot more tempted by this idea, especially considering like my rank. But I just look at these fixtures and I'm like, shit, I think Holland could like really turn it on. And yeah, maybe that's the pussy move, but it's, you know, you're at least 2 transfers to be able to make moves to get Holland out and get somebody else in that you want. He does blank in 31 though, which I honestly think is a very fair reason to get rid of him though, right? Like if you have a playing player who's got a lot of good upside, you know, if getting rid of a Holland and going down allows you to take a really cheap mid up to like a Wirtz or even a Salah, or allows you to, I don't know, do Palmer or something like that. Like I see the appeal potentially. Yeah, just, I don't know, food for thought. If you're thinking about selling him, I think it's worth going through, like, are there other premium options that you could invest that money in?
The question is, are there? Like, genuinely, are there?
That is for sure the question.
Well, I mean, I don't think it would be too hard to get there. And I don't know if you do it through a premium, like when you just moneyball it essentially. And so if you're looking at this team, like just like quick, Holland down to, I'm going to say Strand Larson just because I know his value is about 6.1 because that's easy. So you get over 8 million back there. I can now put Wilson up to, we could go to Cole Palmer. Okay. There's 4.5 of it, 5 million of it, somewhere around there.
And then you
I
like Anderson
still have
to
3
work.
million. You could go Anderson up. You could go defender up. You could do, I mean, if you didn't like Rodgers or if you didn't like Rice, you could easily take them up to Bumo and X other person, or take Semenyo, which I think is what you would have to do because I think you still need City attack cover and he's the guy, it seems.
The funny thing is the only one of us who could really probably do this is Mac, ironically, just because in order to do this, you need a lot of transfers, and you and I have not done a good job of saving them. Obviously, that's the benefit of a wild card is that you've not been forced, but like been encouraged to roll some transfers. Whereas I'm sitting here like when I'm going to talk about my moves, it's like for a hit as opposed to Mac. You have some opportunity.
Yeah, I said when I wildcarded that I have to stick to the plan if I'm wildcarding this early.
Right.
I said it doesn't matter who springs out. I can't make transfers. I'm going to be fucked. So I've done it. I'm proud of myself. But
yeah, well, I mean, like we've touched on that a little bit, but it's worked so well since you're a wild card. Like you've been doing really well. You've made up some serious ground. I think the whole like to wild card or not thing is obviously, as always, very team dependent. But it seems like you made a really great move for your squad. So
yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about it because good things are happening. It makes me scared.
Don't get humble on us now.
I've been humble all season, I think. I've spent the first 10 weeks in that fucking plunger. But
yeah, our league has a great way of humbling the loser every week.
It just, the luck rides whoever's currently riding the highest, then gets shot down in 10 game increments. But no, like I am, like I said, I'm a little worried. Genuinely, the wild card has gone good. We're not going to know if it's the right decision until the end of the season once we see how everybody else plays their chips, because I was on the opposite side of this coin in the first half of the season. If you guys remember where you guys had all like free hit early and I saved my sort of free hit triple captain until later. I don't remember where we ended on the turn. I was pretty low back then. Then kind of rose for a while, but yeah, I don't know. We'll just have to see like what happens if you look at like, if the doubles and the triples are massive, then I could just be in a lot of trouble if I don't have like every player in the bench boost. But
I just really appreciated that you said you were really low back then and you were like more than double Luke's rank in a good way. Or more than half it.
Yeah. I was going to say, clearly my strategy of the early, all my chip strategy was perfect. So yeah, agreed. We had Max team up there for a second.
Sorry, I kind of removed it. It's me. Okay. Well, segueing into me, I guess. Pretty similar week to Sharp. Kind of disappointed about triple captaining Gabrielle. At the same time, I think you can have a bad result and have it still be the right decision. And I don't think anybody with any amount of money bet on that game would have expected Wolves to do that to Arsenal.
And even if you look at like the XG, I'll pull up the plots and stuff, but it's like if you saw that second goal, it was like the ball was in Raya's hands and Gabriel hit it out of his hands with his head. Like it was just like, all right, what are we doing?
Yeah, just catastrophic. And if Arsenal gets that clean sheet and then Gabriel has 8 points plus 3 from the other game, it's not the worst triple captain. If they did double clean sheet, it would have been great, obviously. So I'm not too mad about it. Gahey finally paid off. That was awesome. I was a little worried that was like a mistake to keep on my wildcard team, but then he got 7 points, so I was happy about that. On the flip side, Chalaba is a fucking bum. I want it on record, dude. I brought him in with no faith in the Chelsea defense, and I was like, I don't actually like this decision at all, but I just think wildcarding 24, bringing him in for the run up to 28, I was like, he's arguably the defender with the best fixtures. But I mean, just the fact they haven't kept a single clean sheet against West Ham, Wolves, and Leeds has just been really frustrating, and I was afraid that might happen. Yeah.
That said, the best fixture is still this week.
The best fixture is still this week. And I said this in our offline group chat, but I really rarely, I feel like, see like an actual 1 on the fixture difficulty ranking. So I was like jarred to see like that dark green color when Burnley flashed up. So I'm like, all right, there's 1 more week. Just 1 clean sheet is all I need from him. Midfield's pretty similar. I just had the advantage of having Bumo over same score as Anderson, to be fair. But that was just like my one other differentiator. Because do you have Enzo Sharp?
No, I don't. But
No.
Ekatike put 2 points up, so
Yeah.
essentially those wash out.
Okay.
Yeah, we all washed out. Like I had Bowen, but he returned. But then you guys got João Pedro points or something. It all
The
evened
only
out.
difference between Mac and I is Raya got 3 and Verbogen got 2, and Bumo got 6 and Anderson got 5. That's
How many points did I beat you by? 2 points?
2 points.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
It is an interesting how it worked out like that. I feel like it was just a classic week where a lot of high-owned people just blanked. And thank God I was on the Ekatike has been my biggest fear, just as a whole, as someone who got out of him.
God, he should fucking score every week.
And I'm so happy he's not. Let me be clear. It is fantastic for me. But that's the game week in summary. There's not too much. None
of you guys are gonna. You're just gonna make me say it. Like João Pedro just keeps jamming his way into the most bullshit points of all time. Like we're gonna keep ignoring that.
And he's going to do it again.
We're not ignoring anything.
And he's doing it again and again.
Look, I don't care how they get points. I care that when I log on to this at the end of the weekend, I see 10 there. Right?
It's just so, it's like so laughable though. I'm like, again? How does this 3 pens in 2 games is insane.
Well, if the luck doesn't ride forever, I have a clear exit point, so it's okay.
No, yeah. No, like I like outcome wise, like, yeah, ideal scenario. I just am like, that is so unbelievable. 3 pens in 2 games is crazy.
It is insane though that you use the same argument both ways, where you're like, Cole Palmer, dog. Look at all he's putting up right now.
3
we
pens
should
in
get
a single
him.
game.
And now we're João Pedro. Well, fuck him. That's fake. Da 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 da. But
no, like in all honesty though, like last week I feel like when we were talking about this, I was on the like Cole Palmer. Hey, you're not going to get 2 pens in every game. Like I feel like I said that. It's now that he had like the open play returns is where I'm like, yeah, I mean, he's still got another fucking pen, which is insane. But now that he's getting the open play returns, it's like, oh, okay, he might actually be back. And they have Burnley this week, so I'll be
sure,
hiding in the ground. But
wasn't this the game though that he got subbed off at 60 once they went up 3? Because it was like you immediately need to be resting.
I hope so. That'd be great.
I mean, that's a really fair point. If that is the case, do Chelsea have a lot of fixtures coming up? They just beat Hull in the FA Cup.
Yeah, they've got Arsenal and then Wrexham after Villa.
Oh wait, no, fucking Cole Palmer was in Dubai. I saw on Twitter. People were like, dude, it's the middle of the season. Why are you in Dubai? He was like on vacation. They've had like a week off.
Yeah, he's gonna be fine.
He's gonna be fine.
Brutal. All right, we can jump into mine. Yeah, also triple cap Gabriel. Also pretty pissed about it, but it's fine. And no, in all honesty, like it didn't bother me that much that he didn't return. Same as you, Mac. I was kind of like, it is what it is. We're still not sure that anybody like any other premium is going to have a nice opportunity. And before the week you had said Arsenal was going to not keep it clean in either one. Like,
well, also before so far this half of the season, the best time to triple captain was last week with Cole Palmer. Like who was talking about that? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Good Cole Palmer.
Yeah. Yeah, same with you guys. Gahey, nice return. Hill returns, he gets the assist, and Defcons. And I'm not reading this out I know you're a Senesi owner, Mac, and that's not why I'm saying this. I'm just saying this from the perspective of like Sharp. I know you bought Hill, and like if anybody was thinking about going for a Bournemouth defender, I saw this tweet. Hill has now started 8 matches in a row, a period during which he has delivered 3 assists and 106 defensive contributions, 22 more than teammate Marco Senesi. So I just say that to say, like, we've been saying this for a few weeks, but if you were going to go anywhere for a cheap defender, I mean, he is just a phenomenal pick in that sense, like automatic for DEFCON.
I'm so pissed off about that. Like when I was making my wildcard decision, he wasn't kind of like popping off quite in that way.
Yeah.
Or at least, adding offensive output to his defensive output. So he was comparable to Senesi. And I was like, and Senesi's probably going to get, more DEFCONs.
Yeah.
Then he starts producing offensively. And I'm like, fuck. Because I don't want to waste a transfer doing a sideways move like that. But I'm like, oh, this is just going to be one of those Mukiele versus Alderte.
100%. Alderte.
Alderte.
Yeah, it's a situation where because he's so cheap, and I think he rose again, but like because he's so cheap to the point of Sharp going there, it frees up money. Like it's just such an easy way to get a good player for really cheap. So Yeah, it's a good opportunity in that
Well, and the
sense. But
fixtures are only getting better for them. I went early on the Bournemouth assets, but now it's like West
Yeah.
Ham, Sunderland, Brentford, Burnley.
yeah, the problem is Bournemouth are just absolute dog shit defensively. But yeah, if he continues defconning and maybe hitting an assist every once in a while, we're fine.
I was gonna say those are they have the best 5 over the next 5 overall, so that does feel pretty solid to at least be covered off on some of them. Ryan is the other guy in the midfield that if you're looking for someone cheap, I was actually between going either one of those guys early. It's just that Hill gave me more money, but I think Ryan's going to be a pretty legit threat now that he's over there. I mean, he's played 4 games and had 3 returns so far. So
yeah, that'll be curious to see. Like, I don't pretend to know a whole lot about Bournemouth, especially post Semenyo, in terms of like who their personnel are. But I'll be curious to see if he continues to get the minutes. That would be my only worry with somebody like that. Is he going to stick in the team? But if he's returning the way he is, then form reads minutes.
He was brought in right over the window.
He was a January signing. So
so they want him.
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he starts getting some rests in there if you have somebody who's a little bit more established in the team. We'll see. Like, I very well could be wrong. But that would be
that is a valid point.
But I think isn't he basically playing Semenyo? So isn't he kind of gone?
I don't know.
Semenyo? He left.
so like I don't think there's anyone established there. Is my point.
I think they're waiting on some returns from like this is where I'm really talking out of my ass because I don't watch enough Bournemouth, but like I think they're waiting on returns from Tav. Who else do they have that's out?
Tav is out. Clivert is out, and Doak is out. Ben Gandoak. Ben Gandoak. So yeah, I mean that is a legitimate thing, but they did bring him in as January, and he's doing fine. So it's a short-term upside, maybe.
Yeah, like I don't recognize their midfield. Their most recent 11 was Evan Nielsen up top, then Adley, Christie, Ryan, Toth, and Scott. And like I know Ryan Christie, I know Scott, but like Adley and Toth are I'm assuming younger guys. So I'm just saying I don't know what the lineup's going to look like when they are fully healthy. But I don't say that is necessarily a reason you shouldn't go for him.
Yeah, I mean, when I look back, though, when they played Arsenal, when Semenyo was on the team and Tavernier and Clivert were healthy, they played Evan Nielsen at striker, Clivert as the attacking mid. This is a 4-2-3-1. They played Tavernier back on the back side of the 2 on the right side, and then Semenyo at right wing. So if Ryan's coming in to probably don't need to talk through, is it? But if Ryan's coming in, he might just be fine.
He might be there. Yeah, so I'm looking Clivert, it says mid-April is when he's projected to be back. Tavernier maybe could be back any day now, but is not necessarily. So yeah, maybe he's still a good shout.
We need to make a resident
find a resident Bournemouth fan.
And friend.
Yeah, what else to talk about? I guess we can jump into like looking at these fixtures ahead. You know, we were talking about that Chelsea game. Like, holy fuck, I am so nervous as a non-Palmer and João Pedro owner the past couple of weeks, and they've buried me. This doesn't seem like the week I'm going to get any respite. But just one more, and then they play Arsenal, and hopefully, you know, knock on wood, of course, that's when they'll score. They'll each score 3 or some shit. But big week for them. Big week for City against Newcastle, which may be surprising, but Newcastle have just looked pretty horrid defensively the last few weeks, which is of course why I got rid of Chow and he scored a 17-pointer or whatever the fuck. Anyway, so along those lines is kind of why I'm tempted by somebody like a Semenyo and why I also think captaincy is really interesting this week. You have a City that's projected to do really well at Newcastle, so in theory, Haaland's a great option. You also have Bruno playing Everton. Everton have been pretty rough defensively. I suppose you could do an Arsenal pick. Like Spurs have been really bad defensively, but they also have new manager. We'll see how they line up, what they look like. So I think you could like genuinely go someone there as well. That's also playing on my mind as like my route to Semenyo would be a Rice. And I'm like, maybe you keep the Arsenal player for another week. I think a lot of people are looking to probably move Rice on pretty soon, but which I find interesting. Like if we go back to our teams, we see that he scored 14 points over the last 2, right? Like double game week, average 7. Got 1 assist, you know? So it's like, are we overthinking it when getting rid of a player like that? Obviously he does for sure blank in 31. So there's some incentive to get rid of him. Their fixtures kind of turn, but like, are we just overlooking somebody like that?
It's the previous weeks leading up to that. He's been blanking so consistently for a while that it's kind of just a leftover bad taste. And like, this was the last time to have him. If he starts going back to the blanking stuff, then like the benefit was having 2 games.
Well, see, and that's why I'm saying, though, I wonder if this week against Tottenham is still another week to keep him, just like with how good that fixture is.
I don't think it's a priority transfer by any means, for sure. Like, I see what you're saying. But
I think that everyone probably has at least one worse midfielder in their team.
Also, I was like so ready to come in here and be like, dude, if Saka plays in that position again, like this attack could actually be good again, and then he just goes off injured. Like he's fucking ridiculous. Like that's another reason to hate Arsenal. Dude is such a puss. Just cannot stay healthy. It's so ridiculous. Like I want to love Saka because I think he's a great player when he's playing at his best. He's so fun to watch, but he just can't stay on the field. It's so frustrating. Neither here nor there. But like without Saka, I genuinely worry about this attack. Like that's what we've seen him Rice blanking is they don't have somebody like that. They run out of creative threat and they can't break down like bad teams.
I don't know. I mean, Madueke has been pretty solid in there as he stepped in. He's certainly not like a terrible.
I just don't think Madueke can like.
I don't think he gets others as involved as much, but I still think Rice puts a lot of balls in a lot of good places off of his free kicks and corners.
Which I can't tell which side of this you're on. Before this, you were saying Rice is blanking and get rid of him.
Yeah, no, you're so right. That's my bad. I just got really defensive over him.
I don't know. Like that's why I'm saying I think it is a little bit of a conundrum, is because it's like, do you trust this Arsenal attack? Do you trust that Rice is for sure going to be a part of that attack? But do you sell him before, in theory, one of the best fixtures you could have on paper right now? And who's to say, like, Mac, I don't know what your insider insight is into the new Tottenham interim coach and like how you see them setting up. Is that a factor at all?
I don't have much insight, to be honest. To dare is to door is all I'll say. So we got a nice tagline, and therefore the vibes are already back. What I will say is, from what I do know about him, he tends to be one of those fiery Italians, and I think he's going to whip up some passion. So I could see us coming out and being surprisingly strong, or I could see us getting murdered because we try to play a style we really shouldn't.
That tells me I'm hearing keep Rice. That's what I'm getting out of this.
I'm not transferring him out. Yeah. Where I'm at with the Rice thing, though, is just probably not a priority. What I have contemplated doing is keeping him until 31, transferring him out for 31, and then depending what the lay of the land is then, I don't know, I could bring him back in 32, or I could use that as an opportunity to wait a week, go into a third Arsenal defender, and then just ride the defense for the rest of the season. Like, I just don't think we have to make this decision now, because it's not. I just don't think there's a lot of people putting their hands forward. Like, there's probably 5 or 6 great to good midfielders that people want right now, and you can kind of just head your bets on one of them, right? Like, it's Semenyo, Rice, Fernandez, Mbumo, Rogers, Wirtz. I do have a little bit of FOMO on Anderson, but there's not like that many guys putting their hands up.
Troll. I do think the Rice discussion is different depending on if you've used your wild card or not. Because like for Sharp and I, like in theory, I don't know what your plans are exactly, Sharp, but in theory, if Sharp and I are wild carding in 32, then it kind of does make sense to get rid of Rice, because it's like, okay, after this fixture, you have Chelsea, Brighton, and Everton, which actually outside of Chelsea, that's not horrible. So maybe there is some thought to keep him. But I was going to say, like, there are players in that run from 28 on, thinking specifically of a Wirtz, or obviously with how hot Semenyo is, like those are really the 2 options I think that you'd go for, that just have better fixtures. I would like hear you, Mac, on keeping him. And if I was you, I would probably just keep him and then keep him through 31. Actually, like if you were going to keep him that long, it may just make sense to hold on to him entirely. Because you're right that at some point we're going to want to go back to the triple Arsenal. We can obviously wild card into whatever we want to do later, but like, it may be smart to just hang on to those assets, because eventually you're going to want that team. Yeah, I don't know. This is a weird one. Obviously, again, team specific, but I think he's still an option. Like, he just still chugs along. This is what happened at the beginning of the season. We all got like mesmerized by other picks and we weren't getting a Rice because he's not flashy and exciting, and he has weeks where he blanks, and then he has weeks where he gets 6-pointer, and it's fine, but it's not amazing. And then suddenly you're like, oh, he's the 3rd highest scoring mid or whatever the fuck. So
I feel like we're at the point in the season too where like
He's second right now.
you
Jesus.
know who the good picks are, right? And usually at this point in the time, it's like shit. I'm priced out of having all of the optimal guys because I didn't play the first half of the season, right? Like Rice is, like you said, the second highest scoring midfielder. Semenya was the first, but the difference between them is 5 points.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's
so
crazy to
no
think
matter how
about.
you shake it, he's 0.4 mil cheaper at this time, and he's right there in the conversation. And it's like, I think when you're taking a long view of this, if he's the second highest scoring midfielder, sure, you could capitalize for a couple weeks, but you're probably going to be okay in the long run holding him. That's not to say that you guys should not transfer him out because you brought up the point you could wildcard. I'm just saying for me, because I had used my wildcard and I need to play like a little more conservatively, I probably just need to look for upside elsewhere.
Yeah, and along those lines, like for Sharp and I, it's a similar argument I have for the Anderson point, right? Of just like, this is a player that, yeah, he's probably going to consistently get your like 5-pointers or what have you for the next few weeks. But for the next few weeks, we kind of want to be gunning for the upside and looking for somebody who could do like explode over the next couple. And then we are able to wildcard into a more like steady team. But I don't know who all that is. I think other teams to note that have like really good fixtures going forward is Brentford have some really nice ones. So you have Thiago, obviously, but then you have Dengo Utara, you have Sade. You could even go to a defensive asset if you really wanted to. I don't necessarily trust them defensively, but like part of the whole like triple captain Gabriel thing, that as soon as the deadline passed, I was like, oh, why did I not think about that? Brentford have like one of the best attacks in the league, and they have for weeks now. Like they've just looked consistently really aggressive on the attack. So I would assume for you guys as João Pedro owners, that's like an obvious transfer, Pedro to Thiago. But are you guys interested in either of the midfielders in Dango or Sade?
No, not really right now. I just think with the amount of midfielders that we have, I have other guys that I would like to keep.
That's super fair.
For me, not really. Thiago is certainly there, either JP or again, if I'm looking at Holland to come down at some point, that would be a really easy one to save money on. I think so many of these right now, and Mac has said it a few times about just not needing to make a decision yet, is all of these feel like they could just be game week 30 moves that we've really been talking about. And I know we're building a team to do that, but it's like almost looking at this, like how much can I just roll to game week 30, make a couple big moves, and get to wild card a couple weeks after it.
The only thing on rolling transfers for us who have wild cards that I've been thinking about is, okay, if we both run with that template strategy, right? You have wild card 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34. You're not using transfers in any of those weeks. I guess I forget how that works when you free hit. I don't think you roll a transfer.
You don't.
But point being, we're not using transfers. So I guess free hit, you're using one transfer, but we're not really using transfers in those weeks. So then all of a sudden we're going to come out in 35 and be like, cool, I have 4 frees or whatever for the next 3 weeks, and then the season's over.
I still think that's kind of like a little bit of the point. I think this way, if you do this, or you stack just 2 maybe going into 30 and you make a couple moves, now you're playing a full team in 31. You get to wild card right out of that into the optimal team that you want, and then you get to attack each week to close out the season however you want, right? Like you get to use your boosts, and then you're saying you have 3 and 35. Like, okay, you have 4 more weeks. So now I get to target those each week.
This is also definitely just the difference in somebody who's trying to preserve rank versus somebody who's like, no, but I need to be low rank now so that I can be in the fight.
Yeah, no, that's so fair. And I say this, and I'm not going to actually roll my transfers. So
yeah. What the fuck is going on with you today? What's going on? You're like slow, consistent picks. Yeah, save your transfers, roll, like be patient. What the fuck is up with you, dude? No wonder you're in the cone.
Wow. No, the other problem is why I've been in the cone. So now I'm trying to be a little more reasonable. And
you're doubting yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like we've all had that. Like that was me early in the season when I was going through a rough patch where I was like, okay, so I guess I just got to start doing what Sharp's doing and just pick a player that looks cool and rock with that. Like I guess I sort by form and we're good to go. Yeah.
I mean, it works more times than it doesn't. I will say that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I feel like that kind of covers. Yeah, go ahead, Mac.
Well, all I was going to say is bring it back around on Brentford. So we're through that. I agree with Sharp largely. I was never really looking at a Brentford midfielder. Like the fixtures turn amazing. Dango does have great fixtures, and keep in mind he was gone for AFCON, right?
Yeah.
Like that's why he was gone. So it wasn't like he dropped off. And their consistency seems to have gone up. That being said, I was always like looking more at probably a Brentford defender in that time frame as like a cover option, and then Thiago. Like I feel like they're a good offense, but maybe not one where they fire on every cylinder in the team. Like there's a couple guys. The other team I would look at moving into at the same time I'd look at Brentford is probably Liverpool. So those are the two places I'm looking as someone with 3 Chelsea assets.
Yeah, over the next 5 weeks, best teams with the best fixtures: Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Fulham, Liverpool, Brentford. Yeah, you guys are covered off on Aston Villa. I think, I guess I could get Rodgers. I don't know.
What was that lineup again? Those 5 teams?
Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Fulham, Liverpool, Brentford. Those are the best. Have the best fixtures over the next 5. So now through 31. Yeah, I guess I could. I honestly, getting Rodgers really wasn't on my radar, but I guess that's something I could do. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know if I want to ride the wave that you guys are on. Like, I think if I was in your shoes and I had him, I would keep him. But I think if I, like, as somebody who doesn't have him, I'm kind of like, it doesn't look like a fun wave to ride where you're just like, okay, he did absolutely nothing this week. Do I sell him? And then he bangs a 10-pointer and you're like, okay, I guess we're back. Like, so it could bite me in the ass, but I'm also kind of like, I think I'm okay not going down that route.
This brings up like the whole context of your team conversation again. Just to go back to that, like, for me, he's a keep because I said, okay, I'm heavily investing in Chelsea assets. Therefore, I need someone that I'm not going to transfer out when I need to transfer out all my Chelsea assets.
Yeah.
So that's why I have him. If he's your best midfielder, I'd be a little worried. And I'd be like, maybe I should look at other places. Right. So it's like, it's just kind of, there's no right answer. He is super unfun to own, though. I completely agree, Luke. Like every week, I'm like, dare me to sell you. And he goes, I'm gonna score one from outside the box again.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, I don't have a ton of FOMO there, but I don't know. I suppose it could be worse. God, this site has a lot of ads.
Blocker, dude.
I know. Yeah, Bournemouth, like Sharp, I think you bring up totally fair point in like a cheap opportunistic pick in Ryan or however you say it.
Yeah.
Like they have really great fixtures, so that's somewhere you could absolutely go. Fulham, I really feel like it's Harry Wilson or nobody, and honestly, don't think you have to have Harry Wilson. It's just if you do have him, probably don't sell him. Liverpool is definitely like I think the biggest opportunity that I see, but I don't know. And then yeah, Brentford, like I would assume that's kind of a lock transfer for you guys of just when you're getting rid of João Pedro, it seems pretty obvious to go to Thiago. But I could be wrong. I don't want to speak for you guys. Like I could be wrong on that. But I do think he's pretty essential, it feels like, going forward.
I don't know. I guess I haven't thought that far about him. Like, yeah, I get it. And probably it's just like, has he been doing anything? Or are we just still riding the wave of earlier in the season?
Oh, I see. I think he's due. I think he's due in a big way. He put up like 0.7 XG against Arsenal or something crazy. Like, yeah, I'm happy to go there.
All right.
But I mean, this is the kind of conversation I want. Like,
Talk to me. Tell me the
vibe.
A lot of 2s in the last 7 weeks.
Yeah,
like 6 of them.
That's fair.
So it's hard to say, like, I want to hop back on that train. But is there anyone else that I would really want anyway in a striker position?
That's what I was going to say.
Just worth the upside. I mean, that's where I might get talked into it.
Yeah, like I know you mentioned like Strand Larson. I think the only problem is like to the point of bringing in a player that blanks. I think that's fine. I just don't think Strand Larson's upside is as high as somebody like a Semenyo's, which is why I don't put him in that conversation.
I think the blank fucks him up, unfortunately.
Yeah. But Wolves, United, Tottenham, and Leeds that's disgusting. So I do get the appeal.
I don't know, man. Leeds have been pretty solid, and I think Leeds is Leeds home that week.
No, it's at Palace.
I'm so stupid. Despite playing this game for years, I still can't read these graphs. I never know if the parentheses is away or home for which team. It's the dumbest thing. But I don't know. Leeds have been better recently. They've shown teeth. United are obviously fine. So then I think you're realistically looking at like 2 out of 4 game weeks that are solid, and we don't know how good that Spurs is going to be, and that's why I'm kind of anti Strand Larson in that regard.
Yeah. Well, this is interesting that you guys aren't as high on Thiago as I am, because that's gonna play nicely into transfer plans.
No,
I think Mac is. Yeah.
I'm high on Thiago. He's probably, when we get to my transfer plans, I'll say this too, but he's probably my non-negotiable for moving Chelsea assets on.
Interesting. Let's just do it. I don't, unless there's anything else you guys want to talk about teams.
No.
All right. Who wants to rip that Band-Aid off?
I've already done mine, so I can be quick.
Oh yeah, sick.
Although I did forget that I wanted to ask this question, because I guess you can see how my team is currently set up. But my transfer was Hill. Touched on it many times here. I got rid of Tark because Everton's fixtures just not great going forward, and they haven't looked good defensively in general. So he's gonna bang a couple headers in this week, which is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna love that. But Hill's just been so hot, and he's so cheap. So cleared up 1.5. I now have 1.5 to do something with next week or rolling if I want. But yeah, what my question is with this team right now, and I have a feeling I know where you guys are going to go with this, but this is how I have it set up. This is not necessarily how I love it, but Haaland's on the bench, and it's not like I'm mad about it.
No. And you know the answer.
Sure. Anderson is saying
you are delusional about Anderson. You're delusional. It's insane.
Dude, Haaland technically returned last week. They got the same score.
But Haaland has so much higher of an upside. Remember that one week we all benched Gabriel early in the season, or you and I, Sharp, because we thought he wasn't going to play and he got like a hat trick or some shit, and we were pissed. You're setting yourself up.
Sharp, listen to yourself. You're playing James Hill, the 3.9 Bournemouth defender, who's definitely not going to keep it clean
against an informed West Ham,
and you're benching Erling Haaland. Like, what are you talking? You're so high right now.
I feel so good about this. I truly feel really good.
I feel like that you just did this to rage bait us, and we just
how I rage baited my
No,
friend.
you know what? Do this, because I need to catch up in the minis. So please fucking do this.
Okay, actually though, captaincy wise, I do have it on João Pedro, and that I don't really think is going to change off of him, just because of obviously his form, even if they have been bullshit. And it's Burnley and form and fixture.
I think this is a wide open captaincy week, and I could see the argument for like 5 or 6 different players, and I can bring this back up. But I think João Pedro is a totally fine option. He's in form. Burnley are super ass, and Chelsea have one of the best attacks in the league. I fully support you in that. I think that you could definitely argue this could be a Haaland week. I think you could argue this could be a Semenyo week, like either of those guys from City. I think you could argue Everton, like you could easily go Bruno again. And then any Arsenal asset. You could go Gabriel again if you really were feeling fucking crazy. Like, I don't know. There's so many.
You're a glutton for punishment.
Says the guy with Haaland on his bench. What are we talking about?
Yeah. That little yellow marker down there scares me.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to hear the I told you so's though next week when Haaland blanks and Anderson gets an assist or something. But also, you're insane.
We haven't discussed this, but we don't know if Anderson's going to be the consistent machine that he's been because Dyche is gone.
I mean, he's done it through 2 managers. We got to think, right?
But I had him. He was managed by Postecoglou, and it wasn't fantastic.
Yeah, and maybe he could be more attacking. Like it could work in the other direction too, where he's better. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they just go forward.
Yeah, that is a good point. I hadn't thought of that. They're also playing Liverpool. Whatever. Neither here nor there.
I mean, a lot of DEF CON opportunity.
A lot of DEF CON, but again, that's a defender. What are we talking about?
I will take 5
really
points
about this.
And a possibility of a return.
The perfect bait. You knew the answer when you asked that question.
You're such a rage baiter, and it works, especially me. So yeah, you're not thinking of taking any hits?
No, I don't feel like I need to take a hit for anyone specific right now. So Semenyo is obviously looking forward, someone that I'm looking at. But like I said, I feel like we have a lot of game week 30, either roll opportunities into that. So I'm not sure I want to do anything. I definitely don't want to take a hit right now, though.
I think I think we said this earlier, but I really do think if you're not going Semenyo this week,
Yeah,
it's probably just worth fading him.
I agree. I don't think I'm going to go to him like next week or anything. I think I'm still looking at, can I attack Bournemouth? Do I go to Verts with someone, or what else can I attack?
Yeah, cool. All right, Mac. Where are you at on this? Do we have Mac's bus?
No, I had some things to discuss, so I didn't like.
I put one in here.
Oh wow, you're so on top of it.
Oh wait, no, I didn't. My bad. I can't do that.
Fine. I'll share my screen. I was planning on doing that anyways. All right, so here's my team right now as I have it set up
Put
for
Haaland
this
on the bench.
week. Sorry, I don't have Anderson, so I don't have a compelling argument.
Well, you should probably put him in for Senesi. I feel like Bournemouth's defense is going to look pretty good.
So I haven't touched this yet. Like, this isn't even who I'm planning on starting. This is just who is in my team from who I played last week. It's kind of a weird week. I'd like to play Senesi potentially, but I'm not sure over who at this point in time. Like, obviously the Chelsea guys have a great fixture. The United guys have kind of like a meh fixture, to be honest, but I don't know if Senesi has more upside than Mbeumo or Fernandez. So it might just be a week where I bench them. I feel like I picked them up for this game, but if West Ham have been in form, I'm fine with that. I have a lot of options. In terms of transfers, it's probably a roll, but the reason I wanted to discuss this with you guys is because I just have options.
And we know what happens as soon as we get multiple transfers.
Right. Yeah, you spend them and poorly. I don't think I'm going to do any of these things yet, but things that I'm looking at right now, because the prices will probably be sensitive, is like Thiago, as I said. Are you guys hearing that?
No. Is there something?
Sorry, I'm getting a weird sound. Clearly it's on my side. Thiago is my non-negotiable, as I said, my team, right? So if I'm probably bringing him for João Pedro just because it's against, like, they play Arsenal. That's not great. So then I think where I was thinking about going is, like, I have a lot of options in this midfield slot. If I wanted to go to a Verts, I could. If I wanted to bring in Semenyo, I could. I have a variety of options in defense to go to. Or conversely, my plan based on like nothing at the time I did this was to go bring in Wilson and then bring in Van Dijk. But, I don't necessarily need to do that anymore. That was just an idea 4 weeks ago, and Wilson's been kind of out of form. So I'm not probably making this transfer this week because ahead of the Bournemouth thing. But next week, my Chelsea guys are going. I'm very interested to see like how this sort of pans out for me. And I'll have 4 transfers, so that plus a luxury. So rolling, I think, but that's generally what I'm looking at.
I think those are all great. I think Van Dijk is a great shout. I think that Harry, this guy's looking for a mouse. I think
figure it out.
I think Harry Wilson, or like, I think you get another week to decide: is that Harry Wilson? Is that Ryan? Is that Dango Ouattara, Sade, like whoever you want in that? Like, you have a nice little pick of different options there. I think you could also, like, you were selling Enzo. Like, I know you were talking about keeping Rice. I think you could sell Rice too. Like, I think that's a fair.
I fucking hate Enzo, dude. I don't actually have anything personally against him, but you said it like a couple weeks ago, he's an XG merchant. I agree with that. Dude. I think some of the points that he's gotten to, I am more irate about as an owner than the João Pedro like squeaky points. I have no plans on keeping this guy whatsoever. I'm more likely to keep João Pedro than I am Enzo.
I feel like the variance has to swing my way this week, though, right? Like, he's got to get some points. It's crazy that João Pedro and Palmer the past few weeks have just like comboed for so many points, and Enzo's done jack fuck. I'm like, please do something.
It's kind of
it's the meme of the thing with the stick, like poking.
Yeah, come on, do something. Do something. Yeah, he's got to turn it up. But no, his fixtures are not great. I think Everton in 31 is nice, but otherwise Arsenal, Villa, Newcastle, yeah, fine sell.
I think the question is, can you, or do you want to use the luxury resource on Rice if that was something you wanted to go after and really overhaul your midfield? But that, I feel like, it's just going to be a wait and see if someone does something crazy.
I feel like that's why Rice isn't a priority for me. Like,
you're in such a nice spot, Mac. Like, yeah, I think you're chilling.
spent a long time looking at this wild card before I did it, and I had a clear plan, right? I don't know if it's the right plan yet, but it's mine.
I will say though, like if the whole point of you rolling these transfers was to wait until you knew what the certainty was of these doubles so that you could try to get those players in. Like, so maybe spending 3 transfers next week isn't the wisest. I think all of those moves in isolation are great, but it may be worth waiting until we know what those doubles are, because you may be selling like Enzo and he ends up doubling, or
but this is the thing, because I will have at 28 4 more. I'll have a transfer. I'll have 4 transfers going in 28. So I'll get one in 29. I'll get one in 30, and I'll get one in 31. So I will have at least 3 transfers at that point in time and more certainty. Yeah, potentially 4 if I don't spend all 4 next week. So I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot to be ready to capitalize on that next wave, and therefore I'm kind of looking in this short term, because even if I need to get back to the Chelsea assets, like their fixtures do kind of get better in 31, and then it's Everton, City, which are not great, United, Brighton. Actually, they don't get better at all. They're just shit from 28 on. So I was getting out of them regardless, and so if I need to go back into them, that's fine. But I think that there are unquestionably players with a better next 3 that I could bring in and then move again.
Word.
We'll see. Yeah. That's it. Again, that's the idea. We'll see if it works out.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Now for me to argue with myself. So this is my team. Very similar like backline to you guys. I feel like we all have the same combo of guys. When you were talking about defenders, Mac, I think keeping those Bournemouth guys on the bench, I don't know if I said this, like I do think they concede against West Ham. And I think with Senesi specifically, like he's now less likely to DEFCON than he was before. So I think like leaving him on the bench is totally fine. If anything, I would tell you maybe to go Alderete playing Fulham, but I still think Gahey's got the high upside. So
yeah,
I'm with that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm in the same boat. Like potentially I could swap Alderete and Gahey, but again, I think Hill concedes and I think Gahey concedes. I think it's just a question of both of them have attacking threat that Alderete really doesn't. So it feels weird to bench them, but I could be convinced to bench an Alderete or to play an Alderete who probably has a good chance of cleaning. And then on the flip side of that, I'll counter that argument by saying I could also put Wilson in for somebody and have him score against Sunderland. But anyway, like looking at this team, like technically I don't have to do anything. Like this is a fine team. The transfer that I'm thinking about doing is Bowen to Thiago right now. So Thiago plays Brighton this week. Brighton have been pretty poor recently. Bournemouth also suck. So those are both worth noting. I just think Thiago is more like central to that attack. And if I was going to pick an attack that I trust between West Ham and Brentford, it's really not all that close. So that's why I was thinking about going Bowen to Thiago. That's like what I've been penciling in all week as what I was going to do. But then Semenyo entered my mind. My route to Semenyo is probably Rice. So to the point earlier of like, do you sell Rice before Tottenham? So I could do Bowen to Thiago and then do Rice to Semenyo for a hit. And that feels like a lot, especially for a player that's blanking. But if I did that, I was thinking about how do I maximize my upside at my 800K and try to make some gains and blah, blah, blah. I could captain Semenyo. That was what I was thinking of, was if I really wanted to go like shoot for the stars scenario, that would be that. But I could also see that being super fucking dumb and either Haaland popping off instead of Semenyo or Rice doing really well against Tottenham. So those are kind of the things that I'm thinking. Where does that set me up for 31? Like right now in 31 in my like plans, my penciled plans for the next couple of weeks was the Thiago move and then Wirtz for Mbumo in 28. And so then let's see, in 29, getting a Rice out for somebody cheap. Either, yeah, like probably like a Dango or somebody, I don't know. And then getting into 31. Maybe an Anderson. Yeah, fucking loser. And then, yeah, into 31, I have a couple of transfers that I can use to like shore up some defense or something. Like the team I have in 31 is just not sexy regardless. But yeah, bringing in another blanker in Semenyo would mean that I could still field a full team. It would just be somebody like a Alderete against Newcastle that week. I guess I can show you guys what I'm talking about. while I'm saying that. Like, this is, if I were to bring in a Semenyo, this is what my team would look like. This also assumes that I'm able to transfer out Rice before 31. So it's still possible. Like, it's not like it's the end of the world. It's just that it's not really an ideal lineup.
That
You're gonna
lineup
keep
does not
Enzo?
look
Yeah,
ideal.
so I think I am going to keep Enzo. Not because I necessarily want to. I'll probably bench him every week. It's more so just because he doesn't blank in 31 and Rice does. So if I'm trying to set myself up for that week, like, I'll just keep him, and I don't really have any reason to play him going forward. This is Burnley this week, and then I can play Wilson next week. I can play Wilson the week after, and I can play Wilson the week after that. So I don't have to have him. But yeah, like, in an ideal world, I would sell Enzo. I just don't really need to, and I'm not trying to sell somebody who doesn't. Like, I'd rather sell Rice, the guy who blanks, than Enzo, the guy who doesn't, in 31, I think.
But are you okay? So you're wildcarding 32 then?
In theory, yeah. I could wildcard earlier.
I don't know. That team that you put together, keeping Enzo, did not look fantastic.
For 31, you mean?
Just in general, I wasn't thrilled with it. Like, I didn't look at that team and feel like a lot of confidence. And I feel like if to set yourself up for that goal is to take a hit right now, I don't think you need to do it.
If I was going to take a hit, it would be right now for Semenyo. So it would look like Rice would just be Semenyo, I guess you can just imagine with your brain. Like, Rice would be Semenyo right here. That's the difference. And this is looking at 28. So like, Herd, what would a better lineup look like for you?
I'm not sure. I'd have to like sit and look at your team because there are
Kind of
like
like we're doing right now.
legitimate complications. Well, like, I mean, I'd have to like sit and like look through a couple possibilities, but there are like, okay, go back to the 31 team, I guess. Start there. Guys,
I can't afford this actually, but that's
okay.
neither here nor
Guys that I don't like in this are Enzo.
We're debating a 4-week out plan that can't happen anyway.
But
Yeah.
you said
Okay.
yourself earlier that you need to think about the moves that you want to make to 31. So that's what we're
No,
doing,
no.
right? We're thinking about
Right.
ultimately where Luke wants to end up at that point in time.
Honestly, not really. I'm the way, like, kind of what we were talking about earlier, the way I'm thinking about 31 is more so like, can I field a team? Like, because like we were talking about, I don't really think there's that much upside in that week. So I'm more so just like, can I field a team that's like serviceable? It's really more so, I think for me, the question is, how much upside can I get between now and then? That's kind of where my head's at. Like, Sharp, honestly, kind of the opposite style of thinking of like, you're like, hey, just take it easy now, play the long game, save those transfers for the end of the season. I'm kind of like, I feel like this is really my last time between now and the template team striking in 32 or what have you to differentiate and build like a different squad. Now, is going for 50% owned Semenyo like the differential that's going to get me there? I don't know. That's the part that I don't know. So I don't know if Semenyo is the move or like who is the move. I guess we can put back my bus if that helps you.
I
better.
like the idea of getting Semenyo a lot, by the way. I think it's a great idea in theory. I just, maybe what I take issue is with keeping Enzo because he's just so expensive. Maybe it's not Semenyo that I'm sort of talking about.
Okay. I mean, I'm not heard. What would you
So
do
if you're going Rice out for Semenyo for a hit this week, potentially?
Yeah, that would be the only way I'd be able to afford it, I think.
Is there any value to waiting until next week and then seeing if you can do something with like 2 transfers, get Enzo out, get Rice out, bring in, Semenyo still? Or
so I think similar to you, I'm kind of like in 28, I feel like Thiago's non-negotiable. So right now I have 1 transfer. So I can either bring in Thiago this week or bring in Thiago next week. So that kind of takes one of those away. So it really leaves me with 1 other transfer to make in 28. And so that could be like a Rice to Semenyo, which I don't know why this is showing. I can't afford it because I can. But in theory, I had that booked in as keeping Rice for a little bit and instead going Bumo to Wirtz and getting that upside. So it was kind of like Thiago and Wirtz in 28. This is without the Semenyo move. Keep just benching the shit out of Enzo in perpetuity. And then I don't know why this has that. That won't be right. then it would probably be Rice to like Dango or some shit. Like just getting rid of Rice for somebody, Ryan or whoever you want, like some other cheaper player who's fine.
See, it's a totally good argument, and that's why, like, I suppose the whole in the context of your own team thing matters so much, because for your team that just makes a lot of sense, and I'm like now on board.
Well, I guess to your point though, like
what I would do, but
in
like,
29, I could just sell Enzo for a cheaper mid, like for a Dango or whoever, and that's totally fine with me. It's more the only reason is at that point when you're in 29 or whatever, it's like I'll keep Rice, I'll keep Enzo for the 31 Everton play versus a blanker. But that's like I'm not Enzo, I feel like is the least of my concerns, truthfully, on this team. Because I really have no plans to play him regardless. But I can definitely transfer him out.
I don't feel good about playing Wilson every week, though. Like,
yeah,
I
hear that.
I think the problem is you need one of those guys to be better. So how can we make them better?
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like going from one good asset to one good asset, the best midfielder to the second best midfielder, who are separated by 5 total points, isn't as much upside as one of those lower value guys where you have a higher capitalization point. That's a better way of articulating what I was trying to say.
Okay, so let's start easy then. Would you do Bowen to Thiago this week? Bowen plays Bournemouth, Thiago plays Brighton. Or would you just wait till next week when Bowen plays Liverpool and Thiago plays Burnley?
I think it's a moot point in the total because you're going to do it either way.
Yeah, right. Valid point.
It's really a question of like the only reason
better. Yeah. If you're going to play, if you would play Thiago this week and you feel better about Thiago, then do it this week. Sure. If not, wait.
So let's say we're doing that. Thiago in, boom. This is still just Thiago, so one transfer. So then I have one transfer left. I don't have to do. My plan was to do Bumo to Wirtz.
And who do they play that week? Liverpool specifically.
West Ham, and then they go Wolves, Tottenham, Brighton.
Yeah, it's a valid point. I understand why you'd want to do that, but it's not like Crystal Palace have been lighting the world on fire for a while now. So it's not like that's a horrible game.
Definitely, and neither of Newcastle. So like I definitely don't have to get rid of Bumo. And honestly, ideally, I wouldn't. Ideally, this would be Rice to Wirtz in that week. I just don't have the funds for it, unfortunately.
So maybe then, I don't know, you could take the hit this week and get rid of Enzo and Rice. Like, what does that open up for you? I don't know. Sharp, what are you thinking?
No, I don't hate where you're. I mean, if you're taking a hit, I guess I don't hate where you're at there.
I understand why you want to take the hit, because you want to move 3 players out and you have 2 transfers. So I understand that. I'm just trying to think about the best use for them.
I probably wouldn't sell Enzo this week, but I could do Rice out if that's better.
I just don't think it is. I don't know who you're gonna. Tottenham have been so bad, dude. I don't know who you're gonna hit that's gonna have a better fixture with higher upside.
Yeah. So okay, so we're in agreement. Go with Thiago. So then you're saying hit for Enzo and Rice out in 28.
Yeah, like what does that get you? So if you want to go Semenyo and you're convinced about that, is there some?
See, but if I want to go Semenyo, like I'm either going this week or I'm not going at all. That's where I'm at, because then he only has 3 fixtures.
Is there someone you should look at instead, though?
I mean, if you still want Wirtz here,
yeah, so I can do Wirtz.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
And then you could do. I mean, joking aside, I don't know how much money you need to save. Anderson is a legitimate option there.
Yeah, not doing that. But I could do.
Okay. But isn't like Dango Otaro like?
Yeah, I could just do Dango.
Then you're getting into
Where are we at?
Yeah, I have money for that.
Okay. Dude, you are the biggest Brentford fan I've ever seen.
This is.
I guess Alderete Sunderland. Yeah,
nice try.
Dude, they look the exact same.
Red and white stripes versus white.
No, it's literally the exact same. Yeah. So okay, that gets rid of Rice and Enzo effectively for a hit at that point. Like I just don't know if at that point like that doesn't feel worth the hit. You know what I mean? Like I feel like if I'm going Semenyo and I'm trying to like capitalize on some upside there, that's worth a hit. I don't know if this is as worth the hit the next week. Whereas I could just. The reason why I was doing the Wirtz or Bumo to Wirtz is that then I can just use my free transfer, don't have to take a hit. I could get Dango the next week or what have you.
But like, look at I think you got to look at it in terms of the fixtures that you're gaining, right? Like it's not one player in isolation. It's now you have look at the Wilson Dango rotation. You could play Dango versus Burnley and then bench him for Bournemouth if you want to play Wilson versus West Ham, and then play either of them really, or both. And then same thing the next week, which provides you rotational cover for maybe one of the, backline, any of your Manchester United guys if you don't feel good about them playing Newcastle or like Chelsea.
Yeah.
Like if Holland goes down with another injury, you could bench him for a week. Like, I don't know. I think that it puts your team structure in a better place versus having Enzo and being locked into not playing him, period. Like, because you're not going to play him against Arsenal, probably, or Villa, or Newcastle.
See, but I would be fine playing him against Villa or Newcastle. That's the thing. Like, it wouldn't. I don't think that. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I hear you on that. Where we're at for 27 is Bowen to Thiago.
Fair enough.
Like that part, we're all in agreement with. The rest of it, we can talk about next week or what have you, because I don't think it really affects me down the line. I think the real question is this week: do I do like it's either a Rice to a Semenyo for a hit, or it's a Rice to like a Dango for a hit, like or a Ryan or who have you, but. Or it's an Enzo to a Dango or a Ryan or whatever. Either of those are totally fine with me. But just saying, like, I probably wouldn't do Enzo this week regardless, just because it's Burnley.
No, not this
week.
No,
I don't think anyone's advocating for that.
Yeah.
The only thing, I'll leave it because we'll figure it out. But
yeah, we have time.
I just don't think Boom Verts is worth a free transfer. I think, like Alex said,
I totally hear you.
It puts your team in just not a great structure and doesn't really move you forward. It just feels like kind of a waste.
Yeah, it's like a sideways move for a slightly better fixture. No, I totally hear that.
That's my central point. If you're trying to use transfers to gain upside at this point in the season, they have to be sustainable, regardless of how that pans out.
Like so that's the other thing.
Value for a while.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like how like at this point do I start going for ultra differentials like your Ryans? You know, because he's probably like 3% owned, if that. So I could go for somebody like that and just really ride the wave. I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like you have an easy avenue into having basically everybody you want, though, or like minus one player.
Yeah.
Like you're really close. And I feel like instead of going for super rare differentials that like might not play off, like the way that I approach trying to gain rank is having everybody that I could want, because, if Ekitike doesn't have a good week, but Bruno Fernandes does, you have them both. So you're kind of covered for all situations. So if you can somehow get into a Semenyo and keep an Ekitike and have your Manchester United players and a decent back line and Holland and Thiago, you're covered for every situation, basically.
I mean, that's the hit for Semenyo argument. So that's really my question is like, are we out on the hit for Semenyo this week? That's really my question is like, Rice to Semenyo for a hit or no?
Semenyo's dangerous. We don't know. I don't know. What's the projected goals for each game again, I suppose?
That's a good question. This week.
I don't really use Solio, but I do periodically look at the free version just to check it out. And dude, that thing hates João Pedro. Like every week it's been like sell him. And every week I'm like, I'm just not doing that. Or like I'm like, I don't understand. I mean, the data's bad. I understand that, but
yeah. So City 2.32 expected goals, Arsenal 1.89. You got to think that Semenyo probably has a higher share of that than Rice, but I could also see this underestimating how well Arsenal could do at Tottenham right now, just with how bad their form has been as of late. So I do think it's like relatively close, which leads me to maybe not worth the hit, especially because Semenyo blanks. But I also just feel like of the two of them, Semenyo could be the guy that gets like the 20-pointer, So that's the only reason that's playing on my mind is I just see like if you guys have been watching those games at all when he's been like, it's terrifying as a non-owner knowing he's my biggest rank threat every week and then watching him play in the City lineup, like it's terrifying.
He's a great player. I understand that. I don't have.
But he could also be the Foden, right? Like that we all bought, and he was like the hot new toy. So that's why I was saying like I was gonna have a monologue with myself on whether or not to get Semenyo. Is like I could see both sides of the coin so hard, and it really feels like one of those like either he's not gonna play or he's gonna bang home 3 goals. So it's a tough.
I want him like super bad. I get it. Like. I just think it's more likely that he blanks or that Declan Rice gets a comparable score.
Okay.
And even if he doesn't, even if he scores once, you don't gain any upside because you took a hit.
Yeah.
Like you lose those points automatically. So he needs to score 2 for you to be worth it.
Yeah. Okay. I really don't know captaincy. Like I don't have a clue. Right now it's sitting on Bruno, but I honestly think the more I've been thinking about it, it's probably less likely to go there. I honestly might just go Haaland, but I hate how boring that is. I don't have I don't have a Chelsea player. If I had a Palmer or a João Pedro, I probably would be really thinking about that, but I don't really have a lot of great captaincy options this week. So it's probably between one of those two, which is again why I was like, okay, I could bring in Semenyo and then captain him, and then that's worth the hit maybe. But yeah, I don't know. None of these are like screaming at me as like insane captaincy options, but I do think that the door is wide open to go anybody.
Yeah, I think you could go a lot of guys on here. Like you said, Bruno. You could go Haaland. I don't like it. But you could even go like a TK up there, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't think any of those. Yeah, I don't think I would go there, but I mean, you could.
I mean, who do Forest have managing? Like, genuinely, who's their coach right now?
I honestly don't know.
Could not tell you.
I feel like they appointed someone, right? Why do we not know?
Because we're like, whatever, this team is, it's their third fucking, like, we're good.
It's
Fourth.
Victor Pereira, the guy who.
Oh, right, yeah, who coached Wolves. Yeah.
Definitely going to get Wolves relegated. Oh my God, that's bad. You could definitely captain Ekatike, is all I'm saying.
Maybe I should, dude. He's been missing chances left and right.
Can't believe they sacked Dyche for that.
Yeah, it's rough, dude. Marinakis has no clue what's going on over there. His brain is spaghetti.
You know what? If I can't get West Ham relegated, I will be happy to have Forest relegated.
Honestly, I think they deserve it. I think I'm rooting for them to get relegated. I at the beginning of the season, I was like so into the Forest story of how they did last year and was like, oh, that's so fun that they were a good team. And then seeing how Marinakis has just shat himself with this, I'm like, you know what? Fuck them. Yeah, like I hope he gets burned for just being a prick.
It sucks that the players that are fun like got taken away or suffered and sucked again.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think they're like a cool team to root for. Like Chris Wood being like an older guy who's scoring for fun. Like Matt Sells had a great season. Even Anderson is like fun. He's a really good player and like fun to watch. And yeah, just all around, like that's a fun, exciting team and it could be cool. And instead it's just like, dude, what are we doing?
Well, they dramatically overperformed last year. And
yeah,
just unfortunately they regressed to the mean at the end of the season. Like they had that period of time where at the end of the season they just weren't scoring. And then they fired Nuno. I think I attribute a lot of that to.
That's what I'm saying. I think that it's like they regress to the mean, but I think if they regress to the mean, they'd be like bottom half of the table, but still in it. And it's like, so they, instead of regressing to the mean, Marinakis was like, what if we just nuked the team? What if we just fucked ourselves?
Yes, that's what I mean. Like, I think Marinakis felt like them regressing to the mean was like lower than them where they should have been. And it's like, no, it's probably right.
Probably right.
That would have been like
Champions
maybe
League?
like eighth,
So.
like maybe pushing for like a European spot if you have a good year.
Yeah.
Like, and then bad decisions.
Bad decisions. Yeah. What a weird world we live in where we're having this many new coaches. I don't know if we have time now that we're at an hour and a half. We should probably just cut it. But I do want to start maybe bringing in crowd FPL into our weekly pods. I think it's super fun. It just puts two players up against each other. Oh, look at that. And asks you to pick who's going to score more points between the two. I think that could be a lot of fun going forward. It also kind of, I feel like, helps you sort your team because it might be players that you don't have and you might be like, shit, I really do want, whoever that player, I really want to buy Bruno Fernandes this week. Or it may help you with captaincy and stuff like that. Yeah, I think it's fun. Seems like a good game. Right, this is a free sponsorship. We don't have enough volume to be sponsored, but
we are sponsored by StreamYard in the top right corner.
Yeah. Excellent, Sharp.
All
right, guys. Yeah, we'll call it for now, but we will maybe do a little bit of that next week. Have a good week and good luck. Good luck going into Gameweek 27. Deuces.
Peace.